to drive out so-called minor crime and disorder as a way of driving out more serious crime.
He's mentioned New York's approach to law and order as a direct inspiration. This is a city with a long-standing youth crime and gang problem, in a country where there are an estimated 760,000 gang members under 18. The London programme went to find out about the experiences of people dealing with the problem there. Hashim Garrett is a youth worker in Brooklyn, where he was born and bred. He's on the front line of New York's gang problem and believes that educating kids about the dangers on the streets is the solution.
The same tactics that you use for any other public health crisis, be it cancer, be it drugs, you have to take the same approach with violence. So what you have to do, you have to go into schools, you have to inform young people at an early age, all right, this is how you can contract HIV, this is how you can, that's how you get cancer. Don't smoke, don't do this. So the same approach, you know?
These streets are home, but they're also where he's seen many young lives destroyed by violence.
8 kids were shot in Harlem, all on one day. That's the weird part. 8 kids shot in one day within a 4 or 5 hour time span. And it was like a kid gets shot on this corner, and then in the middle of the block there was another kid laying there. And I think the youngest was from 13 all the way to 19, 13 to 19 years old. Once you say a kid is in a gang or they're Bloods or Crips, people are like, oh, okay, well, just dismiss it. It's no big deal because they weren't a gang, but still kids, you know?
As a former gang member himself, he has a unique insight into what makes street life attractive to kids.
One of the things that I would say a plethora of young people, especially minorities, young black kids, respect is everything for them. Respect is huge. As you grow up, my parents say education, 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 but your peers don't respect education. Next thing you know, I figured out that high school is important, but respect is more important. I don't need to graduate from high school, and I don't need to go to college for 4 years and then another 4 years to become a doctor or a lawyer. If I grab a gun and rob somebody, I can start getting money now, you know? So, kind of figure out there's a little shortcut. So this is the building right here I used to live in. That top floor up there where the trees is at, the second or third windows, all up there. That used to be where I used to live at, right up there.
Age 15, Hashim was involved in a gang-related shooting only a couple of blocks from his home, leaving him partially paralysed.
Yeah, so this is like the area. This is the area right over here where I got shot at. I don't really care to come back to this area too much, just because of the feelings that it kind of conjures up, the memories. It's weird because I always look at the curb because that's what I kept seeing when I was laying there. That's all I kept seeing was the curb. I was looking up, and it's weird because as I stand up, the view isn't the same. But if I was laying on the ground, I know it would be, you know, more accurate.
That night, Hashim ignored his family's pleas to stay at home, and he headed out onto the streets to join his friends.
I saw this kid walk past me, and all of a sudden, once the kid walked past me, my friend said, "Look out, run." And the way he yelled it, I knew something was wrong, so I took off and I started running. And then I said, "Well, kind of see exactly what you're running from." And then when I turned around and looked like this, the kid was staring at me and he was looking at me, and he had the submachine gun, and I'm looking at the gun, and I'm going, I'm gonna get shot, you know? I ran. I had to move so fast that, you know, normally I would have zigzagged, because I've been shot at dozens of times before, but nobody ever got that close to me.
Hashim was shot 6 times in the back and legs by a Tech 9 submachine gun.
Yeah, I got shot in the lower part, right back here. It came out here in my upper chest. That little hole right there. Honestly, I would have to say I got shot because of all of the dirt that I had done in my life and it just came back to me. I'd like to put all the blame on my friends. I'd like to put all the blame on the kid that shot me. It's all my fault, you know. I knew better, but I wanted to play around and be tough and shoot people. So what I did came back to me. Thought being tough was what I wanted until I got shot and almost died, and I realized that's not what I wanted.
Hashim turned his back on the street life that led to his shooting, and 3 years later he went to university. Today he tries to stop kids in New York from following the violent path he once took.
Because I was shot at 15, it always helps me to remember how difficult it was being a teenager and the peer pressure. And sometimes as adults we kind of forget some of the trials and the temptation that was out there for us as teenagers. You know, we kind of forget. Sometimes these violent things that you get involved in, you make a bad decision, that's your life, you know? Always remember, if you think it's cool to hurt people, then don't be surprised when you get hurt one day.